I didn't think it was a cult at first. I thought it was just people. Campers, maybe. Something normal. But the way they were standing, the way they stopped the moment I made noise, and the way all of them turned at the exact same time, that's when I realized I wasn't supposed to be there, and they knew I was. If you ever hear voices deep in a forest where no one should be, don't investigate. This happened about 3 months ago. I went on a solo hike. Nothing extreme, just a half-day trek in a forest area a couple hours away from the nearest town. It's not a tourist place, no proper signboards, no crowds, just one narrow trail locals sometimes use. I'd been there once before, with friends, so I wasn't completely unfamiliar. That's why I felt confident going alone. That confidence was the mistake. The first part was normal, completely normal. The trail was clear, the weather was good, you could hear birds, insects, wind, everything you expect. I even remember checking my phone. No signal. Didn't bother me, though. I wasn't planning to stay long anyway. Just walk in, relax, get some fresh air, and head back. But about an hour in, things changed. It wasn't sudden. It crept in. The birds got quieter, then stopped. The insects, too. Even the wind felt reduced. At first, I didn't think much of it, but after a few minutes, it became noticeable. Because forests are never completely silent. Not like that. It didn't feel peaceful. I slowed down, started paying more attention, looking around more than usual. There was no one on the trail. No footsteps, no voices, just that silence. And then that feeling started, like someone might be nearby, watching, not seeing you, but aware of you. A little ahead, I saw something on a tree, a carving. It looked intentional, a circular shape with lines crossing through it, not random scratching, clean cuts made with a sharp object, and fresh. The wood inside was lighter than the bark, sap still slightly wet. Someone had made it recently. That means someone was nearby. I told myself it was probably locals. Maybe some kind of marking. Maybe even just someone messing around. Nothing serious. So I kept walking. Looking back, that was the exact moment I should have turned around, because everything after that got worse. About 10 minutes later, I heard something. At first, I thought it was wind. Then I realized it had rhythm, like voices, multiple people, speaking in sync, too faint to understand, but definitely human. There shouldn't have been anyone there. I stopped walking, just stood there, listening, trying to figure out where it was coming from. Part of me wanted to leave immediately, but another part, curiosity, wanted to check, because it didn't sound like normal conversation. It sounded organized. So I stepped off the trail. I moved slowly, carefully, trying not to make noise. The ground was uneven, dry leaves everywhere. Every step sounded louder than it should. The voices got clearer. Still couldn't understand the words, but I could tell they were repeating something. Same phrase, over and over. Then I saw light, faint at first, through the trees. Orange, flickering. Fire. That's when I crouched, instinctively, and moved closer. That's when I should have left. I reached a point where I could see clearly. There was a clearing, and in that clearing, there were people, around a fire, standing in a circle, at least a dozen. They weren't dressed normally. Dark clothing, loose. Some had hoods. Some had cloth covering their faces. Not uniforms exactly, but similar enough to look coordinated. They were all facing inward, toward the fire. And they were chanting.
In the middle, there was something on the ground. At first, I couldn't tell what it was. Then it moved, slightly. That's when I realized it was a person lying down. And no one was helping them. That's when it hit me. This wasn't normal. This wasn't a group of campers. This wasn't some harmless gathering. Something was wrong, seriously wrong, and I needed to leave. Quietly, I started backing away, slow, careful, trying not to make a sound. Then my foot hit a dry branch. It snapped, loud. Everything stopped. The chanting cut off instantly, not gradually, at once, like a switch. Every single person froze. Then one of them turned, directly toward me. Then another, then another. Within seconds, all of them had turned, facing my direction. They couldn't see me clearly, but they knew someone was there. And then one of them pointed. My heart started beating so fast. That was enough. I didn't wait. I turned and ran as fast as I could, straight through the trees. No path, no direction, just away. And then I heard them.
Footsteps. Multiple. Moving fast. Behind me. Not yelling, not shouting, just running. Focused. They were used to this. I tried to find the trail, but everything looked the same. Trees, darkness, no landmarks. I turned left, then right. Nothing. I was lost, and they weren't. The footsteps got closer, then slower, then spread out, like they weren't just chasing, they were surrounding. That's when panic hit. I stopped thinking clearly, started running harder, ignoring direction, ignoring noise, just moving, branches hitting my face, feet slipping, heart racing. I didn't care about getting lost anymore. Then suddenly, I saw something, a familiar part of the trail. I ran toward it, got back on it, and kept running. The sounds came back, birds, wind, noise, everything normal again. The footsteps stopped. I didn't turn back, didn't check, just kept going until I reached the road. I thought it was over. I didn't go back, not alone, not ever. I told a couple of people. No one really believed me. They said it was probably some local ritual, or I misunderstood. Maybe. But something didn't feel right, because of one thing. About a week later, I checked my bag, the one I took that day. At the bottom, there was something I don't remember putting there. A small piece of wood, flat, roughly cut, and carved into it was the same symbol, clean, precise, fresh. I didn't take that from the forest. I threw it away immediately. Didn't keep it, didn't show anyone, just got rid of it. But here's the part I can't explain. 2 days later, it was back, in the same bag, same place, like it had never left. I haven't gone near that forest since, and I don't plan to. But sometimes, late at night, when everything is quiet, I hear something faint, rhythmic, distant, almost like voices repeating something over and over. And I don't need to understand the words to know it's the same sound I heard that day.
You ever notice how hospitals sound different at night? Not quieter, just wrong. Like something is trying to pretend everything's normal, but it isn't. Because on my third night shift, I heard a patient call my name from a room that didn't exist. I wasn't supposed to work nights. Nobody is. But when you're new, you don't get choices. You get what's left. And what was left was the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift at St. Darius General Hospital. Everyone warned me, Not directly. That's the weird part. No one said, "Don't take the shift." They just said things like, "Try not to go to the East Wing," or, "If a patient calls you from room 217, ignore it." That one stuck with me because there was no room 217.
Let me ask you something. If a room doesn't exist, how can someone call from it? The first night was fine. Uncomfortable, but normal. Hospitals at night feel like they're holding their breath, machines humming, distant footsteps, the occasional cough echoing too far. I did my rounds, checked vitals, updated charts. Nothing unusual, except one thing. Every clock in the East Wing was exactly 6 minutes behind. Not broken, not random, exactly 6 minutes. The second night, that's when things started. At 2:13 a.m., the phone at the nurse's station rang. Not unusual, but the caller ID said room 217. I stared at it, let it ring, 5 times, 6, 7. Then it stopped. No voicemail, no follow-up, just silence. I laughed it off. Glitch, old system, bad wiring, right? Pattern interrupt. But then explain this. At 2:19 a.m., a patient in room 203 asked me, "Why didn't you answer her?" I froze. "Answer who?" He looked confused. "The girl down the hall. She's been calling for you." There was no one down the hall. 204 was empty. 205, storage. 206, under maintenance. No 217. There was nothing. But I checked anyway. Because that's what you do when something feels wrong. You try to prove it's not. It is just what us humans do, right? Halfway down the hallway, I heard it. A voice. Faint. Weak. "Hello?" I stopped. My brain said, "Old building, echoes, pipes." But my body knew. That voice wasn't coming through the hallway. It was coming from inside one of the walls. There's a section in the East Wing where the walls are slightly thicker. You wouldn't notice unless you were looking. But I was. And the voice was coming from there. "Please." I leaned closer. And that's when I saw it. Scratched into the paint. Over and over. Numbers. 217. You ever get that feeling where your brain is trying to protect you by pretending you didn't see something? Yeah, this was that. Third night. I almost didn't come back, but I needed the money, and I told myself, you imagined it. Stress, sleep deprivation. Hospitals are creepy at night, that's all. So I came back. Big mistake. At exactly 2:13 a.m., the phone rang again. Room 217. This time I answered. Silence. Then breathing. Slow, wet. "You found me." I hung up immediately, hands shaking, heart racing, and then the computer in front of me flickered. A patient file opened by itself. The file had no ID number, no admission date, no doctor assigned, just a name, Elena Voss. Status, deceased. Time of death, 2:13 a.m. Location, room 217. Cause, undetermined. But remember, room 217 doesn't exist. I shouldn't have kept digging, but I did. Every hospital keeps old records, backups, archives. I searched her name. One result, a security recording dated 7 years ago. It showed the East Wing,
Same hallway, same walls, but different layout. There was a room 217, though, at the exact spot where the wall is now. The camera angle faced the door, and at 2:13 a.m., the door opened, but no one walked out. Instead, something moved inside, like the shadows were shifting. Then a nurse appeared on screen, walking toward the room. She hesitated, knocked. No response. She opened the door, and that's when the footage glitched. Not cut, not ended, glitched. Like something interfered with it. The last frame before it froze wasn't the room. It was the nurse's face, right up against the camera, eyes wide, mouth open like she was screaming, but there was no sound. And behind her, something standing in the doorway, watching.
I checked the records. The nurse in the video? She never left the hospital. They said she quit, but there's no resignation, no transfer, no exit logs, nothing. Just gone. Fourth night. I didn't want to go back, but I had one more shift before I could quit. One. Just survive one night. That's all I told myself. You already know what happened. The phone rang. Room 217. But this time, it didn't stop. It kept ringing and ringing and ringing until every phone in the ward started ringing at the same time. Not random, not glitch, perfect synchronization. I picked one up. Didn't matter which. They all had the same voice. Why won't you help me? Then another voice layered on top. Then another. Dozens, all whispering, all overlapping, all coming through the line. The lights flickered like crazy, then went out. Emergency lights kicked in. Red, dim, wrong. The hallway looked different, longer, like it stretched further than it should. And at the end of the hallway, there it was, a door, where there was never a door before, numbered 217. Every instinct said, don't go. But something else, something deeper, pulled me forward, step by step, until I was standing in front of it. If you were me, would you open it? I did, and I regret it every day. The room was normal. Hospital bed, curtains, machines, but the air felt thick, heavy, like breathing underwater. There was someone in the bed, covered, completely still. I stepped closer, reached out, and pulled the sheet back. It was her, Elena Voss, eyes open, staring straight at me, not blinking, not moving, just watching. Then she spoke, without moving her lips. You're late. And that's when I realized she wasn't talking to me. I turned. There was a mirror behind me, but my reflection wasn't alone. Someone was standing behind me. It was the nurse from the footage, face distorted, eyes hollow, mouth stretched too wide, and she whispered, "You're replacing me." I should have walked away. Instead, after that fourth shift, I went into records. Paper records, old ones nobody digitized, buried in basement storage. And I found room 217. It used to exist. 7 years ago, a patient died there during a night shift. Young woman, Elena Voss. Official cause, cardiac arrest. But clipped to the report was an incident statement, unsigned. It said the patient pressed her call button for 43 minutes. No one responded, because the night nurse assigned to the wing had fallen asleep. Elena died alone. And that should have been the end. A tragic mistake, medical negligence, case closed. Except
Someone sealed the room inside the wall afterward. Why do that if it was just negligence? I kept digging for information and found another report. Restricted, not supposed to be there. The nurse who ignored Elena was found dead 3 weeks later in the hospital basement. Officially ruled suicide, but the report mentioned injuries, defensive wounds, broken fingernails, like she fought someone or something.
The room was abandoned. Dust everywhere. Old equipment. Rotting mattress. But on the wall beside the bed, scratched into the paint. Hundreds of times. Not help me, not some ghost cliché. Just names. Staff names, nurses, orderlies, doctors, and everyone matched employees who either quit suddenly or died. I took photos, went to police. They said the room doesn't exist. Hospital said I was a disgruntled former employee. My photos? Corrupted. Every single one. And 2 days later, the East Wing burned. Electrical fire. That's what the news said. That whole section demolished. Gone forever. Problem solved, right? That's what I thought. Until last month. A woman messaged me online. Said she works nights at the new hospital built on that site. She asked if I used to work there. I asked why. She sent one sentence. I keep getting calls from a patient in room 217, but the new hospital doesn't have a room 217.
If you've ever used a Ouija board, you already know the rule. Always say goodbye. But what no one tells you is what happens if something else says it first. Before I continue, I need you to check something. Look around your room, just quickly. Make sure you're alone. Because when I first heard this story, the guy telling it swore he wasn't. It started like every stupid decision does, with boredom and curiosity. 4 of us were in that house. Me, Jake, Ryan, and Emily. Old abandoned house on the outskirts of town. Emily's uncle owned it. Nobody lived there anymore, so we hang out there. No neighbors, no streetlights, just trees and silence that felt too thick. We weren't supposed to stay the night, but of course, we did. You ever notice how silence gets louder the longer you sit in it? That house had that kind of silence. The kind that feels like it's waiting. It was around midnight when Ryan brought it up. Let's do something fun. He pulled it out of his bag like it was nothing. A real Ouija board. Cheap, probably ordered online. Still smelled like fresh print and cardboard. I laughed. Emily didn't. Don't, she said immediately. No hesitation, no joking tone. Just don't. People who know something don't argue loudly. They go quiet. And that's exactly what she did next. Relax, Jake said. It's fake. Yeah, Ryan added. It's just us moving it, LOL. Emily shook her head. No, it's not.
We should have listened, but fear doesn't stop curiosity. It feeds it. We sat on the floor in the living room, one candle in the middle, windows shut, phones on silent. Just for the vibe, we were all curious. If you've never done this before, here's how it starts. Everyone places 2 fingers lightly on the planchette, and then you wait. Ryan cleared his throat. Is anyone here with us? Nothing. Just the candle flickering slightly. We looked at each other and smirked. Told you. Fake. Then it moved. Not slowly, not gently. It jerked, like something grabbed it. Emily pulled her hands away instantly. I'm done. But it kept moving, and we all felt it. None of us were pushing. At least, we thought we weren't. The planchette slid to Y-E-S. No one spoke. The air changed. You don't notice temperature dropping in horror movies. In real life, you do. Who is this? Jake asked. The planchette paused, then moved again. A-M-Y. None of us knew anyone named Amy.
Here's where things went wrong. We didn't stop. We leaned in. Amy, what do you want? I asked. The candle flickered harder. The planchette moved faster this time. P-L-A-Y. Ryan laughed nervously. See, even ghosts are bored. But Emily was shaking her head. No. Why? Jake asked the board. The answer came instantly. Because you opened the door. We froze. No one moved. No one breathed. That sentence, it didn't feel random. It felt aware. Suddenly, a knock. Not on the front door. Not outside. From inside the house. Upstairs. 3 knocks. Slow. Deliberate. Emily whispered, "We didn't close it." "What?" I asked. "The session. We didn't close it." Remember what I said earlier? Always say goodbye. We hadn't done that. Jake stood up. "I'm going to check." "Don't," Emily said immediately. Too late. He was already halfway to the stairs. The rest of us sat there, listening. Step. 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 Then silence. "Jake?" Ryan called out. No response.
Silence again. But this time, it wasn't empty. Then Jake screamed. We ran upstairs, all 3 of us, at the same time. The hallway was dark. No lights worked up there, just the faint glow from downstairs. Jake was standing at the end of the corridor, facing the wall, not moving. "Jake?" No response. Something was wrong with the way he stood. Too still, too straight, like he wasn't breathing. Ryan walked closer. "Bro, stop messing around." He touched his shoulder. Jake turned around, slowly. His face. I still don't have the words. It looked like him, but the expression wasn't human. His eyes were wide open, too wide, and his smile, it stretched further than it should. Then he spoke. But it wasn't his voice. "You didn't say goodbye." Emily screamed. Ryan stepped back. I couldn't move. Then Jake collapsed, just dropped, like a puppet with its strings cut. We dragged him downstairs. He was unconscious, pulse normal, breathing fine, just out. "We need to leave," Emily said. Now, no arguments.
We should have left earlier. We should have never stayed, but we didn't. We grabbed our stuff, headed for the door. It wouldn't open. Locked from the outside. "Who locked this?" Ryan shouted. No answer. Then, behind us, the board moved. We all turned slowly. The planchette was moving on its own. No hands, no one touching it, just moving. It spelled S-T-A-Y. Nope, Ryan said. Nope, nope, nope. He grabbed the board and snapped it in half. The moment he did, the candle went out. Total darkness. We couldn't see anything, not even our hands. Then, whispers all around us. Not one voice, many. Some crying, some laughing, some angry. Why did you open it? Let me out. Stay with me. You're mine now. Emily started praying. Ryan was yelling. I just stood there, frozen. Then something touched my shoulder. Cold, wet. I turned. Nothing, but the whisper was right in my ear. Don't leave. Suddenly, Jake gasped, like he was drowning and just broke the surface. Lights flickered back on. The whispers stopped. The door unlocked. We didn't think. We ran out the door, into the night. Didn't look back. Didn't stop.
We never said goodbye. Not that night. Not ever. We never talked about it again. At least, not together. Jake changed, stopped going out, stopped answering calls. Ryan moved cities, said he needed a fresh start. Emily blocked all of us. And me? I tried to forget. But you don't forget something that follows you. It started small. Knocks at night. 3 times. Always 3. Then whispers, faint, barely audible. Then the dreams. I'd wake up in that house every time, same room, same candle, same board, and every time I'd be alone, at first. Then it would move, the planchette, by itself, spelling one word, C-O-M-E, and every time I'd wake up before it finished. Until one night I didn't. In the dream, I did. I stayed, watched it spell, slowly, carefully, C-O-M-E-B-A-C-K. Then the candle went out, and I heard it again, that voice right behind me. You still haven't said goodbye. I turned, and I saw it. Not a shadow, not a ghost. Jake, standing there, smiling, the same wrong smile. And then
I woke up. That was 3 nights ago. Since then, the knocks haven't stopped. 3 times every night. And yesterday, I found something on my desk. A piece of cardboard, burnt at the edges, with letters printed on it. A broken Ouija board. And the planchette was pointing at one word. G-O-O-D-B-Y. But I didn't move it. So tell me, if I didn't say goodbye, who did?